section of society has to stand up and say, no more business as usual.
Tonight, pro-Palestinian protesters face off with police at UC Irvine. Law enforcement arresting dozens as they clear the campus. Good evening. Welcome to Fox 7 News at 10. I'm Alex Michelson.
And I'm Christine Devine. Tonight, we're on top of breaking news. This was the scene as police cleared pro-Palestinian protesters from the UC Irvine campus. Earlier tonight, there were reports that protesters escalated, an unlawful assembly was declared, and then law enforcement moved in. We have live team coverage. Fox 11's Ed Lascos and Chelsea Edwards are covering different angles. We begin with Ed.
And Christine, the student encampment is now gone and the cleanup underway this late hour. I'll give you an idea with Joab. This is all over the area here in the center of the campus. Chalk writing that says Free Palestine. And then over in that direction is the big cleanup. Workers over here moving in, the steam cleaners blasting away all the writing, blasting away that area, cleaning it up where the encampment once stood with its dozens of tents, its student protesters, all of it ending in a wild scene and dozens of arrests. Watch. Crackdown at UC Irvine. And the takedown of pro-Palestinian protesters, several zip-tied and led away, arrested as the chaos on campus explodes.
Anything, we're prepared for anything, whether it comes from arrest, tear gas, we're ready to defend this country no matter what.
Protesters prepared, and so is law enforcement. Their skirmish lines face to face with the protesters themselves, clearing out the encampment, breaking down the barriers. Then pulling out the tents, dozens of them, and finally making several arrests.
And they pulled some of our protesters in, and you can see them now that we are being taken away.
I'm not sure why today specifically they have thousands of cops, but they do, and they're being very aggressive. They're being very violent, aggressive, and they're pushing straight through.
Free, free, free Palestine!
The university itself taking action after protesters block entrances to this lecture hall, using rope and wires to keep the doors closed to seal them shut. That sends police rushing in. All this as the weeks-long pro-Palestinian protest suddenly turns tense.
We've met with them several times, and they have suspended several of our students.
And that sets the stage for this wild standoff right in the center of campus. Community members, students, and even faculty members all under arrest.
I'm out here supporting my students who have the right to peacefully protest.
And now you're looking live from that faculty member to Sky Fox, and the workers continuing using the steam cleaners here, blasting away the center of campus. No sign at all of the tents anymore or any of the protesters. The campus still, in a sense, closed, locked down, if you will, by law enforcement, and all the faculty members told to check in online as their courses will be no doubt held online if any of the courses go on. As we come back out to this location, the big question, what sparked all of this? Well, the university very concerned when the students moved in on that lecture hall, closing the doors with the rope and the wiring. They were feared that they may have been inside. Our cameras inside found no sign of the protesters inside, but that set off a mutual aid call, bringing in not just the Orange County Sheriff's Department and also CHP, but I'll tell you, dozens of police agencies from all through this area of the OC moving in here with the skirmish lines and the arrest. For now, we're live on the campus of UC Irvine. Back to the west side we go.
Ed Lascos, thank you. So after police moved in, a fight on X broke out between the mayors of Irvine and Newport Beach. Irvine's Democratic mayor, Farah Khan, tweeting this: "It's a shame that peaceful free speech protests are always responded to with violence. Taking space on campus or in a building is not a threat to anyone. UCI leadership must do everything they can to avoid creating a violent scenario here. These are your students with zero weapons." She has since taken that down, by the way. But before she did, the Republican mayor of Newport Beach had this to say. Will O'Neill saying, "Your careless wording makes it appear that you are preemptively accusing our officers of violence."
Fox 11's Chelsea Edwards continues our live team coverage tonight at UC Irvine. Chelsea, what's happening where you are?
Yeah, so we're on a different part of the campus from where Ed was. This is where they're hauling a lot of that debris, those tents, a lot of the trash that was in the encampment, loading it up and then taking it off campus. And this is actually also where arrestees were taken to be loaded up and processed. Now, we were on the other side of the police line as protesters were pushed out of the quad.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly. And in the name of the people of the state of California, command all those assembled on Irvine campus.
after hours of methodically pushing protesters out of their encampment step by step. Just after 8 o'clock, law enforcement officers announced that everyone remaining on UCI's campus had 5 minutes to get out or be arrested with less than lethal force, pepper spray, rubber bullets, whatever it took. Minutes before that, hundreds of protesters lined up on the grass in a peaceful sunset prayer, many people around them taking a moment of silence.
We're just peacefully protesting, but they see us as aggressive, which is the issue. And I just feel like they need to back off and go back to where they came from, to be honest.
Suspending students, arresting students, that's not right, which is why we're out here protesting. When we woke up today, our goal wasn't to get arrested, but now that we're here, we're ready to do what is necessary. And we're not going to do anything that's illegal or wrong, but if they feel like they need to take us out of here, we're prepared for that risk.
They certainly were. Now, everyone that we talked to said they were there for a peaceful protest, but were prepared to be arrested. A lot of people writing phone numbers on their forearms in case they were taken out in zip ties. Now, in addition to the divestment demands they've been making in the encampment they've been occupying for the last 2 weeks or so, today they also called on the UC Regents and UCI's administration to drop student suspensions related to the encampment, essentially to let suspended students continue their educations within the UC system. Those arrested say having a record is a small price to pay for free speech and standing up for the voiceless in the Middle East.
I think it's egregious for them to think that we should give up our right to speak on what is going on in the world, something that's really important. It's the genocide. How do we stand down when there's a genocide taking place? Are we just supposed to not show up so that they can continue to believe that we wouldn't show up, that we don't care, that we're not invested in this? No, we have to be here. This is our right.
Is this worth it for you?
You know what? I'm going to find out.
So will the dozens of other protesters who were arrested today. You're taking a live look from Sky Fox over the UCI campus. Still quite a few law enforcement officials here. Obviously, cleanup crews will be working well into the night. You can see them deassembling and sort of loading some of those tents into the van, at least where we're standing. Now, after all of this, law enforcement in riot gear walked in a line throughout this very large campus, repeatedly announcing that anyone remaining would be arrested and, again, possibly met with non-lethal force. That includes potentially pepper spray, rubber bullets. At this point, it's not clear if any of those were used. My colleague Elliot Mendoza and I walked with them for quite some time. Again, this is a very large campus. As they combed through the perimeter, we did not see any arrests made in the 9 o'clock hour. So again, hoping for an update at some point from law enforcement on exactly how many arrests were made. Reporting live from Irvine, Chelsea Edwards. I'll send it back to you in the studio.